America has always been about business, establishing an industrial empire. But some of those businesses took advantage of its workforce, while creating tremendous wealth for its owners. Monopolies were challenged and labor laws enforced, causing competition among businesses to grow even stronger, and perhaps nowhere more fiercely than in the music business. With access to abundant hopefuls, record companies easily exploited artists and controlled the distribution of music in record stores and on the airwaves. Artists were often coerced or forced into contracts that gave up ownership of their own music. Black artists especially took a hit. Barred from the radio because they were black, they were forced to let white performers cover their music. Black entrepreneurs started record companies only to emulate business practices of the past. In the 1970s, below the music industry's radar, a new art form developed in the inner cities. Incorporating dance, art, fashion, and music, hip-hop gave a voice to inner city youth. Considered a mere fad, the music of hip-hop was ignored by mainstream record companies. But as independent rap releases shockingly started selling in the hundreds of thousands, the major labels had to take notice. A collision between art and business was inevitable, beginning with the very first breakout rap record.
Fuck Hank, man.
Your name is like a golden bell hung in my heart, and when I think of you, I tremble, and the bell swings and rings. Roxanne! Roxanne!
UTFO's 1984 hit, Roxanne, Roxanne, tells the story of Kango Kid, Dr. Ice, and the educated rapper trying to romance a fictional woman named Roxanne. The song itself was not a diss track. With the song in the public eye, a relatively unknown Queensbridge DJ named Marley Marl, who by day worked in the Sergio Valente jean factory, decided to record a response to Roxanne, Roxanne.
What happened was Marley Marl, who lived right across from me in another building, like directly across from me, he said, well, listen, you know what, Shantae, I heard that you can rhyme. And I said, yeah, I can. I said, but look, right now I'm doing the laundry, because my mom was like obsessed with this laundry thing. He said, look, it's only gonna take you 2 minutes. Just come up here, I want you to hear this beat. Did you hear this song before? So then I heard that boom, 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 Roxanne, Roxanne. I said, okay, so now what? He said, let me hear you rhyme. I said, okay. Well, my name is Roxanne. And he was like,
my name is Roxanne. Don't you know, I just a cold rocker party and I do this show. I said I met these 3 guys and you know it's true. Let me tell you and explain them all to you. I met this dude with the name of a hat. I didn't even walk away. I didn't give him no rap.
The first 5,000 copies, I think, was pressed up from the record company recording it over the radio.
Listen very close, because I don't say this every day. My name is Roxanne, and they call me Shantae.
And so, you know, here I am on the radio for the first time, and, you know, my name's just starting to, you know, blow up a little bit, and someone's shooting me down, you know, right after my success. Pow!
Every time that I see him, he says, around. You see, compared to me, it's weak compared to mine.
Roxanne's Revenge, recorded by 13-year-old Shantae Gooden, was an instant sensation, selling approximately 250,000 copies.
It's like, hey, that's not fair. We created this, and she's selling more now. You know, we're like, okay, we need to hurry up and crush this. And so we wanted to come out with what we would refer to as the real Roxanne.
Yo, Kango.
Yeah, what's up, girl?
I'm the real Roxanne, and I'll rock your world.
While the UTFO's answer, the real Roxanne, never mentioned Roxanne Shantae or Roxanne's Revenge, It was a direct challenge.
The Lady Devastator. I make it feel hotter than it is in Grenada. The ROXANNE. Roxanne is who I be.
What for? What? They got a Roxanne already. Me? What do you want another one for? And then I was like, oh, because they angry. That's all I need to know.
Roxanne Shante responded with Bite This, calling out the real Roxanne.
The real Roxanne is standing right here.
Sparky D, Curtis Blow,
and Curtis Blow,
Run DMC, and LL Cool J, practically announcing to the world that it was a free-for-all.
I mean, there was jams, Roxanne's sister, Roxanne's mother, you know, just people that had nothing to do with it. And the funniest thing about it is, I don't think that none of the female rappers that actually were, you know, involved in that name were really Roxanne.
KRS-One and Scott LaRock's Boogie Down Productions, as part of their legendary Bridge Wars battle with MC Shan and Marley Marl's Juice Crew, targeted Roxanne Shante in BDP's The Bridge Is Over.
I remember that KRS line, though.
Roxanne Shante is only good for steady pumping.
Roxanne Shante is only good for steady pumping. That was disrespectful.
Clearly offended by the diss, Roxanne Shante confronted KRS-One in a New York bank.
She's like, I ain't never did nothing to you. I ain't never said your name in a record. Why you had to say my name? I didn't have an answer. All that battle rah-rah was gone. I was like,
Now KRS-One, you should go on vacation with the name sounding like a whack radio station. So step back, peasants, popping all that junk, or else BDP will stand for broken down punks. Cause I'm an all-star just like Julius Erving, and Roxanne Shante is only good for steady serving.
Roxanne Shante continued dissing into the 1990s, taking on Queen Latifah, Yo-Yo, and a bevy of other female MCs in 1992's Big Mama. Artists of all genders from all parts of the country got swept up in the battle. Ice Cube appeared on a JJ Fad track dissing Shante, and Dr. Dre and Snoop's Bitches Ain't Shit was considered a response to Roxanne Shante's Brothers Ain't Shit.
Everywhere I went, there was somebody answering the Roxanne answer. And when I'm telling you that there was over 55 response records, we're talking records that were actually played. You'll never have another Roxanne phenomenon again, ever. It'll never happen again.
Roxanne battles remain significant in the history of hip-hop as the moment when rappers discovered that dissing other artists on wax could both start careers and sell records.
My whole situation was a fluke, and I thank Kango for that and for being very hostile about that, because that's what turned it into a career. Because had they not been so upset about me being Roxanne, like, no, she's not, no, that's not right, I'd have never been able to make those other 15 records.
As increasingly violent lyrics propelled rap record sales to new heights, record companies raked in huge profits and ignored the possible consequences of displeasing an artist from the streets.
So there was a knock on the glass door, and I was reading a paper, and I looked up, and it was Ice Cube, and he had 3 of his homeboys with him, and they were, you know, they had their trench coats on and weren't looking too happy, and I said, "What's up, Cube?" And I opened the door for him. There were no security procedures at the time. You know, he just stared me down, walked past me, and his crew walked past and went then into the president's office.
Brian Turner and Mark Cerami were co-presidents of Priority Records. At that time, one of the biggest record companies and distributors in the business.
About 5 minutes later, I heard screaming and glass breaking.
There was something going on, so I jumped out of my desk, I got up, I ran out, and I get to my partner's door, it's closed, and I hear all this screaming going on.
Cube was standing over Brian with a baseball bat, and he had his 3 guys standing behind him, and Cube turned around and screamed at Mark and I to get the hell out of the office.
Said, "Mark, get out of here, man. I'm cool with you. Just please, just leave."
And this has nothing to do with us, and I was glad to hear that, and I took a step back.
And I said, "Cube, I can't do that, man. This is my partner. I have to stand here, and I have to make sure nothing happens here. If you're gonna fight, we're gonna fight. If you're not gonna fight, let's talk about this."
Cube smashed a TV and hit Brian's glass desk and screaming about he didn't have the money that Eazy-E had and why is Eazy paid and I'm not. He stormed out of the office and smashed his gold and platinum plaques on the wall in the lobby.
Squad cars all over the place, and they're all ready to bust everybody and everything. And Cube's a good guy. You know, he's a damn good guy, and he's always been very, very good to Priority and very good to me. And people coming after us like crazy. And I said, hey, hang on. What are you people doing? Oh, here is a problem with Cube, we're going to take him in jail. I said, no, you're not. I said, there's nothing going on. And they finally got it in their mind, and they left. They didn't like it. They wanted to bust somebody. So I said to Cube, Cube, I said, meet me in Marina Del Rey tomorrow. And I rented a 50-foot power boat, a fishing boat. So we went out and we went fishing for about 4 hours. I made us lunch, and then we listened to a bunch of Cube's new album, and he said that there was a problem. He said he was owed money, this and that. And I said, then there is no problem. I said, it's taken care of. You'll get the money. And I got back to the office, and I straightened it out immediately.
That was my introduction to the rap game, because at the time, I guess I was 19 or 20. It was my first, 6 months or a year at the company. So from there, it all made sense after that.
As the 90s progressed, business increasingly destroyed friendships and partnerships. Labels faced off against label, group against group, and friend against friend. Short for Eric and Parrish Making Dollars, EPMD exploded into hip-hop in the late 80s, with their first 2 albums, both going #1.
Eric Sermon's my friend from 8th grade, from around the way, building the '68 Camaro. Our life wasn't built on EPMD. Our life was built on friendship.
With a new deal at Def Jam, and their own management company to handle their proteges, EPMD released their 3rd album, Business as Usual.
After our 3rd album, it was break time, and I said, okay, we're already established. Let's really try to put them on now.
Eric and Parrish formed the Hit Squad, an all-star group designed to introduce up-and-coming artists Redman, K-Solo, and Das FX to the world.
At that moment, we control airwaves at that moment. You know what I'm saying? We're like, oh, the whole posse is on the countdown.
Hit Squad, Hit Squad, Hit Squad. One day Eric said, Joe, I don't want to mess with the business. I just want to chill, so P, you handle that.
My whole thing was music. I wanted to rap, give people what they wanted, the whole 9, and just be busy and chill with my boys, ride around the cars and just chill.
EPMD began work on their 4th album, Business, Never Personal.
In the middle of recording that album in the house we in, 4 gunmen broke into my home. I was coming home from doing something, and I went to the 7-Eleven to get a box of Phillies. So if I ain't stop and go get those Phillies that day, I would have walked right into an ambush.
Several men entered the house, and at gunpoint, forced everyone inside to the ground. The gunmen began to search the house.
They was asking for me, where's P? I was so close to it that when I pulled up in my driveway, my man was tied up and I couldn't hear him because we had the system loud. And when I turned it down, I was like, yo, what? Then my alarm went off upstairs.
The gunman fled the scene.
And then I seen all these people running up the street. So I drove around a corner and I seen a blue car pull out. I get the plate number. So by the time I got back from following the guys to getting the plate number, the cops was already at my house. The first person who I'ma call when it went down, I called Eric. I said, E, you ain't gonna believe it.
Work continued on the Hit Squad and the Business Never Personal LP. For months, nothing came of the break-in.
August 25th, 1992, my man said, yo, we gotta go down to the precinct. This is 2 weeks before we about to go on the Hit Squad tour. So he's like, yo, you ain't gonna like what you're gonna hear. So I'm like, I'm running with the energy and I'm not really conscious. You know how sometimes you think you're ready for something and whatever. So we drive down there to the precinct, Detective Flom at the 3rd precinct in Brentwood, Long Island, 5th Avenue. His first words to me was like, hey, Parrish, is your group breaking up? And I was like, what do you mean? He says, because we caught the guys who broke in your house and they signed a statement saying that your partner, Eric Sermon, paid him $5,000 to break in your house.
We interviewed the witnesses. We